Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman with the DC camp, a branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. But first and foremost, call Halal Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Rekah HaKodash. And of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, right, who deserve double honors and rule well, therefore. All right, so what we have here, I also send out salutations to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways. All right, pushing the truth across the four corners of this earth while also having numerous videos that are uploaded, all right, that go out over the airwaves and are there for the public's learning, especially uh, the hopeful elect, all right, that by doing so, we hope that it will wake up, all right, because time is very short. Hence, this very video that I'm doing right here should tell you that. It says top Trump officials are moving onto military bases. But why? Oh man, this is classic. Second Ezra chapters 15 and 16. Also Isaiah 13th chapter, and numerous others that we I hope we'll go into. This is going to be a relatively short video compared to my others. Um, but anyway, it says Stephen Miller, Mark, and this is from the Atlantic, all right? And now that I say this, hold on, let me get it, because I will get to talking and I'll forget it. Let's see, right? Which one? Here it is, my favorite. All right. Let me just bookmark this. Well, no, that's the workspace. Oops. There we go. Okay, so copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research, all of which I am doing. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right. So let's go back to the article. Top Trump officials are moving on to military bases. Stephen Miller, that asshole. Marco Rubio, another one. Kristi Noem, and others have taken over homes that until recently housed senior officers. This is by Michael Scherer, Missy Ryan, and Ashley Parker. Again from the Atlantic. All right, look at there. What are they scared? What are they scared for? The former White House advisor, Katie Miller, mother of 3 young children and wife of the presidential right-hand man, Stephen Miller, walked out of her front door one Thursday morning last month and was confronted by a woman she did not know. When she told this story on Fox News, she described the encounter as a protest that crossed a line. The stranger had told Miller, "I'm watching you." This was the day after Charlie Kirk's assassination. It also wasn't anything new. Is that so? For weeks before Kirk's death, activists had been protesting the Miller's presence in North Arlington, Virginia. Someone had put up wanted posters in their neighborhood with their home address, denouncing Stephen as a Nazi who had committed crimes against humanity. Wait a minute, you can't be serious in your surprise at this. For 2 whole years, you've been complicit, all right, in acts of genocide by giving those frauds over there in the land of Israel weapons and money. to slaughter people that can't defend themselves with the excuse that it's Hamas. And people are not supposed to take issue with that. You seriously thought that this wasn't going? What? Why am I even asking that question? It says your efforts. Wait a minute. A group called Arlington Neighbors United for Humanity warned in an Instagram post, your efforts to dismantle our democracy and destroy our social safety net will not be tolerated here. The local protest became a backdrop to the Trump administration's response to Kirk's killing, when Miller, the architect of that response, who was known for his inflammatory political rhetoric, announced a legal crackdown on liberal groups. He singled out the tactics that had victimized his family in what he called organized campaigns of dehumanization, vilification, posting people's addresses. See, this is this is how you know who's behind this. Stephen Miller is one of the JOOZs, all right? He's one of them. And they thought that they were going to be able to continue in this lie forever. All right? But even these stupid ass Christians, I'm mainly speaking of the white nationalist variety, all right, are fed up with this shit. It's like it's about time, but it's way too late. All right? Because there have been some amongst them that had suspected. You got to remember, uh, the neo-Nazis and factions of the Klan and all that, they don't like Stephen Miller's people anyway, because they figured that out a long time ago. They just weren't in the positions, all right, and their hatred for us is such that, hey, let's be, real about this. But this is how prophecy goes. This is the beautiful thing. We're seeing our enemies collapse from within. All right, it's a beautiful thing. Stephen Miller soon joined a growing list of senior Trump administration political appointees, at least 6 by our count, living in Washington area military housing, where they are shielded not just from potential violence, but also from protests. Wow, they can dish it out, but they can't take it. Cowards that they are. Go figure. All right. It is an ominous marker of the nation's polarization. Yes, division, division, division. Mark 3rd chapter, starting at 24. To which the Trump administration has itself contributed, yes, that some of those top public servants have felt a need to separate themselves from the public. You're reaping everything you've sown, and you can't handle it. Damn. These civilian officials can now depend on the U.S. military to augment their personal security. How about that at taxpayers' expense? Meanwhile, they're cutting everything. Why? Because it's getting to that time where that MOTB is getting ready to be rolled out. You can, if you're paying attention, of course, seeing how the banks are starting to move. All right, it says, but so many have made the move that they are now straining the availability of housing for the nation's top uniformed officers. Uh-oh. So you got your generals and such, all right? They got their, but a lot of them, I'm guessing from colonels on up, that they're talking about here, your senior field grade and and on up, including the general officers. You think they're going to be inconvenienced? No, because a lot of them live off base anyway, that can, and still receive their BAQ and all that. Let's look at some more articles. This is one, let's see, Jerusalem Post. How about that? Let's see what this says. This is from yesterday. All right, senior White House officials are swapping their traditional homes to live on military bases. Oh, Fort McNair, that's just down the road from where I am here. All right. Oh, let's see. Several senior Trump men. Oh, okay. You just said that. Uh, uh-huh. We just read that. Let's see what else we got here. All right. The threat level against administration officials has changed recently, including oh, here we go. Gotta throw them in there, right? Iranian-backed attempted assassinations as well as the multiple assassination attempts against Trump. Yeah, okay. Okay, anything to sell it. They know that something else is going on too. This uh, 3-hour atlas has got them shook. What's turning out not to be a comet, as we were led to believe. Well, I just love to see these little cowards just scramble. And that's what they are. You know, you got this guy right here from Cuba, supposedly. But it says in there, Trump administration officials move, okay, on the basis in a robust democracy, what you want is the military to be for the defense of the country as a whole and not just one party. All right. Stephen Miller will reportedly soon join the growing list. Katie Miller, his wife and mother of his 3 children. All right, we already read that. We already read that. All right. Both Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth live at Fort McNair, known as General's Row. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll shares a home on Joint Base Meyer Henderson Hall with another senior political employee of the Army. All right, another senior White House official who was not named for security purposes, oh, look at that, had to swap living in a private home for a military base. And we know that in much of this, the phone call is coming from inside the house, if you catch my drift. Uh, but hey, this place is going down. You know, we get into hold on. A lot of this, of course, is meant to serve as a distraction, but at the same time, they've overplayed their hand. So the American people are just fed up. All right. The Atlantic, citing an official familiar with the matter, reported that in some aspects, this would be cheaper for the federal government than providing personal security to officials, which requires agents to rent a secondary location nearby. Previous administrations, there have been instances in which cabinet members resided on military bases. Robert Gates, Defense Secretary under President George W. Bush and Obama, and Jim Mattis, Trump's first Pentagon chief, lived in naval housing at Potomac Hill Annex near the State Department, the report added. Trump's former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, lived at the Joint Base Meier-Henderson Hall during his time in office. Really? All right. Let's check some others out. Yeah. These are very recent. Over safety fears. Wow. All right. Even MTG wants to know about the truth about Trump goons free housing. There she is. She gives them like nightmares. Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to get to the bottom of why an increasing number of top Trump officials have been moving into military housing. Oh man, look at her. Look at this. That's the one that somebody knew where she lived and said, "I'm watching you." Let's see. Mar, Mar is correct. A growing number of high-ranking MAGA officials have indeed moved into taxpayer-subsidized military homes in the D.C. area over the past few months. All right. Pete, all these. Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, who's there in the middle, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who's there on the end there. Miller, along with his wife, all right, and children. Yeah, we've already read that too. Uh, After left-wing activists reportedly targeted their prior residence on repeat, not once, but on repeat occasions, Noem moved rent-free into a military home ordinarily occupied by the head of the Coast Guard earlier. Damn. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security says she made the move. This asshole here, Bill Maher, he's in JOOZ. He's of the JOOZs. All right, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, we already read that. General's Row. Uh, yeah. So he takes house reserved for top general. Oh. Like someone going, let's get, let's get, because this is at the point, this is where we're at now. Let's see. All right, let's see. Here we go. Trouble there. Salaki. All right, and this is what Ezra said. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. All right, he says, "Woe to the world, all right, and them that dwell therein." It says, "For the sword and their destruction draw it nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." What's a modern day sword? The gun, in all its forms. "For there shall be sedition among men." Let's look that word up. What is sedition? All right. Conduct such as speech or organization intended to incite rebellion against the government. It involves conspiring to overthrow, oppose by force, or delay the execution of any law of the United States. Examples include advocating insurrection, subversion of a constitution. Well, they're doing that. They're finding every way. I'm talking about your government officials, they're doing everything to circumvent the Constitution. Since 9/11, this is what's been going on. It says subversion of a constitution or inciting discontent against established authority through words or actions. All right. Yeah. And but the thing is, I'm not telling you as to the why this is happening. Now we all know, you know, this is prophesied to happen. It says ultimately this is the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, bringing this devil down, bringing him out of power. Luke 10 and 18. All right. Let's get that real quick. Real quick. Here we go. This is disciples. Yeah, I was talking to disciples, and he said unto them, that's to them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So he's being removed out of the power seat. All right, it's happening right in front of our faces. All right. All right. And this is overt, not necessarily covert, although it can be both. All right, meaning it's for everyone to see. It's not hidden. So sedition is a overt conduct, such as speech or organization, that tends toward rebellion against the established order. Sedition often includes subversion of it. And you have to understand the irony in all of this, after all the governments that America, at the behest of you know who, all right, has been responsible for assassinations and setting up their puppet regimes throughout the world, wherever the JOOZs, you know, because America has been that hammer, all right, that the elites used to get their way in the world. All right, let's see. All right, let's go back. Yep, gotta throw the speaker in there, Mike Johnson. See, Green also renewed her attacks against Republican Speaker Mike Johnson for a month now. Cannot give me a single policy idea, and I'm angry about that. Yeah, because they don't want those Epstein files to be revealed. Some of this is a stall tactic. Some of this is actually them hurting the people in a certain direction. All right. Over the past several months, the ordinarily diehard MAGA loyalist has emerged as an increasingly rogue voice of dissent. And she also made one of those videos about if something happens to her, you should know this, you know, like Candace Owens did. All right, it says bashing the second Trump administration on everything from strikes on Iran to the DOJ's handling of recent developments in the Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking case. Critics speculate her growing willingness may have something to do with Trump's refusal earlier this summer to back her for a gubernatorial run. So they think she's in it just for the spite, just to spite him. I think it's a little bit more to that. Yeah, I'm not saying that's not part of her motivation, but I doubt that that's the whole thing. All right, I think she's genuinely repulsed by by what she's seeing. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's get some comments. John Campbell. It is because, and this is from yesterday, it is because they are afraid that people are waking up to their corruption and they are afraid they may get hurt. By the way, MTG, this woman right here, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all right, is no good and as rotten as all of them. When Marge is the voice of sanity in the party, you know the party is off the rails and over the cliff. Got to agree. I don't know the precise saying, but it goes like this. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Nah, it's not going to work for me. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is Maisel tough to stomach. Uh, but while she gets at him, pop those tongues. Yes, and here's yes, the question is, are they actually paying rent? I've heard yes and no. The big thing, they're hiding from the public and afraid as they probably should be. Uh, this is the hallmark of police states, where the rabble is kept separate from important leaders and the party elite. Hail to the king. Let's get a few more. They are running scared. They have been doxxed, and people are going to demonstrate outside their homes. As I recall, it was a MAGA type who did the head hammer job on Pelosi's husband. Yeah, all right. This is what happens when violence becomes an acceptable form of political expression. All right. This is reminiscent of The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. And so on and so on and so on. All right. This is talking about irony here. This is let's see, considering how much these people hate communism, they sure do sound an awful lot like the Soviet elite living in the Kremlin at the pleasure of a dictator. Wow. Yeah. Ah. Yeah, but that's what you get for you people that, hey, that's who you voted in there. And Northern Kingdom, no one's going to feel sorry for you. You're losing your farms. And I did hear recently that China agreed to uh, soybean to accept soybean sales and stuff like that because these farmers, I figured they were going to start to bend because when you really look at it, the people that are really hurting are their own people. A lot of them voted this last presidential cycle. It's only been not quite 11 months in, all right, and all of this was done because they thought it was going to hurt people such as myself. But no, it backfired. It, and oh man, they're that's the big thing that they're in an uproar about because it's not hurting us more than it's hurting them. And a lot of them actually thought that we, all right, were the majority on this welfare shit. But no, it's them. All right, it's them. They were told this about us, and they realize that they've been played all along. But again, that's beautiful. Love it. Let's end on this scripture here. Let's see. Yes, sir. Whoops. This is Sirach 25 and 7. It says, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, which you really can't have here, all right? And he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy, which you can have joy in, because that's what we're witnessing now, all right? The fall of our enemy. Yes, sir. All right, let's see here. Let's back that one up. Let's go to Proverbs. All right. 23. And 24, it says, the father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begetteth a wise child shall have joy of him. All right. Let's see. So we don't end it there. All right, there's this bastard that's getting his just desserts. All right, meaning punishment appropriate to what he's actually. It's going to get worse, and far worse. All right, but again, this is going to be righteous. All right, in the eyes of the Most High. All right, that's why that going back to Genesis 4th chapter. All right, he was reserved for a reason. All right. In fact, let's get that. This is why he was reserved. Now you go to Second Thessalonians 2nd chapter, but let's go all the way back. All right. This is why this asshole is still around. All right. This is Genesis 4:15. And the Most High said unto him, and the Most High's name is Yahweh, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And we see that, especially when it dealt with Jake. But even now, this is around the world. You do anything to these motherfuckers, and guess what? It said the Most High set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. Right? This is why it says, you know, and I wasn't train of thought now, but yeah, that's gonna do it. You know, it's over. He's going down in his witchery, his sorcery is not going to save him anymore, as Isaiah 47th chapter. All right, that voodoo that he used to do so well isn't working for him anymore. It's over. Over. All right. I think Yogi Berra would agree. So with that, once again, I hope that whoever views this has been edified. That's what we aim to do here at Great Millstone. Filter everything to the scriptures. And also to remind you, now more so than ever, keep your head on a swivel. All right. Remain circumspect. Because you know these people like to act out. They can't take adversity too well. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.